Recording. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast. We really do appreciate every single one of you guys swinging by and listening. It's been great. We have been going for over a year now, and it is vastly approaching, if I can even talk, the big holiday, Christmas.
Yes.
Merry Christmas to you, Sir Jefe.
Happy holidays, because we are. Oh wait, no, Trump won. No, we can say Christmas.
Yeah, we can
again.
say
we
Christmas.
Can say Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, because you guys will hear this hopefully prior to the holiday, and we will also have a New Year's Day holiday as well. So hopefully you guys will have a great holiday season, as it were.
And for our Eastern Orthodox Christians, you'll probably hear this on Christmas Day, and they're like 15 days behind everybody. It's really weird.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
there's that. That's new. I didn't know any of that.
Ahayim. I don't know. That's what they say over in Eastern Orthodox land, but
okay. All right. Well, there's that.
But I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Okay. Well,
the next question is going to be.
It was going to be the very next question.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you for the Christmas card.
You're welcome. I'm not in charge of the Christmas cards, man. Like I'm going to be 100% frank. It's I get told Shutterfly has a special 70% off on all cards.
That's exactly how it works.
I get told, hey, which one do you like? Yep. I like the first one the best.
Sounds oddly familiar.
And then yeah, that's all. That's my hand in it. So you are welcome.
And that is why you have that card in front of you right now.
All four of us. My dog isn't listed on here, but you know what? We'll try again next year.
Man, you messed it up. All right. So with that being said, we want to say again a special thank you to you guys for listening. We, as I say every episode, see our analytics growing each and every single time, and we certainly do appreciate you guys taking the time to go on this journey with us as we interview some of the really cool people in the industry. We have to take a second as well to say a huge thank you to Attero Arms. They are our title sponsor and our very special guest for this episode as well. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right on into this without dragging it out. We have Jessie from Attero Arms. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
We certainly do appreciate you joining us for this episode. And we just, we say episode in and episode out every single time how much we love Attero Arms, but we've never even had you on the podcast.
Mark hit me up the other day. It's like, hey, we should have Jessie on the show. I was like, yeah, for round 2, like we haven't done a second round on a guest yet, but yeah, we can bring him back.
Well, we've talked about Attero Arms so much, it seems like you have been on the Regan podcast. So.
Exactly. So
yeah, I appreciate it. Crazy. It's been a year.
It has been a fast year, especially with this podcast and all your support. So, so Jessie, who are you? What did you tell us a little bit about what Attero Arms is? Because we haven't done it enough.
Yeah. My name's Jessie Hauser. I'm owner operator of Attero Arms. We started back in 2011, actually.
Nice.
With our first prototype AK mounts, and kind of just evolved and grown since then.
Right on. And so if I remember correctly, you have I'm really nervous about this question, but you have some military background, is that right?
Yeah, Marine Corps. I was a combat engineer, and
oh, interesting.
That's when I got back from Afghanistan, is actually when I started Attero. Was it Gunnery Sergeant Spiesel? He was like, you guys can either go to school or you can start a business. You can't drink all day. I was like,
you mean right. Marines don't drink all day? I thought that was a prerequisite.
Yeah, like
maybe for 6 months after,
something has to dissolve the crayons, right?
There it is every single time.
It seems like we got a lot of Marine people on our show.
We do. Yeah. We really do. Yeah. The combat accountant, he was a Marine. Night fighter was Marine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So you spent some time in the Marines. Did you have a deployment during that time, or?
Yeah, one tour to Afghanistan in 2010.
Okay. Jefe is keeping me honest here. He said that you just said it.
Literally just said it. But
obviously wasn't listening.
So what made you decide to do, instead of drink all day, I'm going to make the most affordable, yes, most effective AK optic mounting solutions?
So the AK mount, we would have to rewind maybe till 2006.
Okay.
I bought my first AK when I was 16. I was helping with some construction during the summer, and the neighbor guy came over and he was like, "Hey, I just had a kid. Do you want to buy my AK for $400? I think it was."
Oh.
And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Okay. Well,
And
hold on 1 second.
yeah,
Everybody's going to want to know, what kind of AK was it?
it was an SAR-1,
SAR-1. Okay.
and
Interesting.
I feel bad that I destroyed it with all the prototyping that I did over the years. It's in
Hey,
pieces.
it went to a good cause.
It did.
That's
It
how we
did.
got here today.
I would like somebody to restore it. Maybe I'll send it out at some point. But yeah,
Oh, you still
at
got
this
it?
point, yeah,
Oh,
the
wow.
trigger
nice.
guard is like tacked on, tack welded on. It's in shambles. It's
Oh,
not
speaking of
great.
Soviet bloc countries and trigger guards, I
Mhm.
have a great story I want to add to this
Okay.
podcast.
Okay. Sounds
But
good.
sorry,
We'll get
but
to that
anyways,
point.
so bought your SAR when you were a wee child, and you ruined it. Why did you ruin it?
Uh, well, it got ruined when I tried to make like a bullpup kit for it. That was
Come
the
again?
real
Oh.
downfall.
Okay. You said you tried making your own, or was it like a
Yeah,
kit?
yeah. I tried to like make it into a bullpup, and then that didn't work out very well.
Oh wow! Do you have like photos of it? Is there evidence of
No,
this bullpup kit?
destroyed it.
Okay,
Tried to turn
oh,
it back, which is why it's bad.
gotcha. Cool. Like, what were you trying to do? Just use blockwood to kit it out, or what was the plan?
Well, I think it's the Chinese bullpups where they have the metal
Yeah.
handguard forward,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I was trying to like recreate that, which is why I cut the trigger guard off
Yeah.
and everything. But
Yep.
just yeah,
But the interesting thing in something that I absolutely love AKs for is it still runs, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. See, I mean, you could beat it to death and it will still run. Which I vastly appreciate for a firearm like that.
So
and
so oh, go ahead.
sorry, and that's why like getting back from Afghanistan, why I kind of honed in on the AK because I had much respect for him.
No, we're gonna go back to this bulk. I got to paint a picture in my head. Like I have like the absolute like some like Winnie the Pooh like rulers and like a single nail holding this thing together. So like so explain to me like what was the plan behind it and what actually happened.
Well, I was trying to go to like the wire driven trigger, right?
Mhm.
But all the spring wire I'm using isn't working. The beautiful orange stock that it used to be on it, I tried to cut down to just make it shorter and cover up the trigger. So because I still like the wood
Mhm.
look,
Yeah.
right? Keep the wood top gas guard, and it just didn't work out right.
And what we're gonna do for the I guess the kind of the pistol grip trigger guard from the bolt like for the bullpup.
Because you have to move like the pistol grip in front of the magazine. Is
Yeah,
it? Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So with the lower handguard now becomes your pistol grip mounting point and the trigger pivot point.
Oh, okay, so you just screwed stuff in and hope for the best.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. And then so it didn't turn out that great, and it's since been somewhat restored to its current glory.
semi.
Okay.
I
And
can
then
reshoot it now.
okay, well
The original furniture's gone, and that's upsetting.
is there any photos of what it looks like now or on the grams?
No, absolutely
Oh,
not.
it's one of those, and I say this as someone who's done this before. You kind of bastardize a firearm and then you delete it from all social media, and then it's like that redheaded stepchild you never talk about. It holds a really near and dear spot to your heart, but you just never post about it or talk about it.
Yeah, no, we're not posting that up.
so you got back from a deployment and you decide I'm gonna be making AK parts. So what was how did that journey start out for you?
Yeah, so well, after I got the AK, then next year I'm in a vocational high school, so we have shop class and machining, and that's kind of where I picked up the manufacturing side from, apart from also my parents. But my first AK mount was this kind of barrel clamp that went in between the gas block and the front sight. And then it was probably 1/4 inch thick steel coming all the way back over the rear sight, over the dust cover, and then dovetailed so I could put a scope there. I was 17. I didn't realize the side rail was for a scope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's where it started.
so was that the first Attero Arms prototype?
That
You
was
still
the
have
first prototype.
you still got it?
I don't have the barrel clamp anymore, but I do have that piece of metal that came over. It's sitting in my garage.
And is it still work today? Like if you put a new clamp on it, it would clamp right on and go to work?
Yeah.
Was it even did it work really well, or did it kind of just fall apart?
It worked decent. It was very flexible with that. It was, I mean, the whole thing's probably a foot long.
Well, I mean, in defense of 8K optic mounting platforms, I don't see Brandon Herrera's video where he duct taped that scope to an SKS and shot it, and it's still hitting like at 100 with it. It's like, well, son of a bitch.
Did somebody else do that?
Yeah. Someone someone else did that, and it didn't work well.
I think that guy's dead. No, he's in jail.
No, he's dead. Well, he could be.
I mean, he's probably going to be Epstein pretty soon.
Yeah. That's true.
So there's a lot of that going to happen. I feel like in the next six months to a year. But we'll get to politics here in a little bit. We're still learning. We're still pulling teeth on trying to figure out how did we get from a foot long garbage rod to sleek and sexy Attero mount. So you built this at a vocational school back in high school. What brought you to take that design idea and turn it into what it is today?
Well, so then when I got back, my roommate at the time had a Fast Fire. I think the Fast Fire 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of playing around with it, like how did we put this on the AK? And then just iteration after iteration after iteration from there.
Did you have your own like milling machine, or did you like use on base one? Oh, you had your own. Yeah,
at that point, I'm 20, 21. I had my own mill at that point.
Wow, that's like just in your basement or what?
At my parents' shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Attero is somewhat kind of co-located with like your family's business as well, and that's kind of where it matured from. Is the best way to describe that?
Yeah, in the after hours. So currently I have Attero Arms, and then also me and my sister run Hauser Steel, which is the main business. We also have another one, Mr. Steel, which is our install company.
Yep.
But yeah, we're all in the same manufacturing facility now.
Right on.
That makes sense. I just figured, we've talked to so many people that kind of do like garage, like start in their garage. Like I think Hamray with Hamray Forge is like, yeah, just one day got a 3D printer and then I got a bigger one, and now I'm shooting lasers at dust.
Yep.
And it's turning it into grips. I don't know how I got here.
And I say that because I seem to remember on Instagram you had like a drone fly through of the facility and stuff.
Yeah, that was for the Hauser Steel website.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, so if you look at that, like towards the beginning, it'll pass by our plasma table, and then it flies by 2 Haas VF2s. And that's what's running all day, every day, cranking out mounts.
That's cool. That's really cool. So one of the things that I will say is that the current design for the Attero like RMR mount is one of the more rigid mounting platforms that I've encountered. I seem to remember Hop did a video, I would say probably 3 or 4 months ago, discussing different options for AK furniture and optics mounting solutions and stuff like that. And he was mainly talking about the Midwest Industries Alpha furniture set. But he briefly mentioned Attero Arms and was quote unquote concerned that it wouldn't hold up. And I'm just like, okay, first off, this is an AR guy trying to talk about AKs, and he has literally, I mean, Hop, I respect his knowledge, but at the same time, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. So
yeah, I mean, it's been 10 years and I still get those emails like, we're concerned about this. I'm like, I got a video of me doing pull-ups on it if you want to look it up.
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I had a PSA 103 for a little bit, and when I first got that mount, I was like, there's no way this is gonna. And then I loaded up. I put what did I even put on that? I don't remember what I had on there for a while.
I don't remember what you had on it either, but it was a
509T. 509T.
That's right.
I had that for a while, and it's just bulletproof, man. Like you guys nailed it. Like, I don't know what science you have in there, but you nailed it.
And that's one of the interesting pieces to it too, Jesse, is the fact that the design of it and installation of it ends up being so simple that it seems like there's no way that this is going to hold tight, hold rigid to hold zero. But I've shot out to 575 yards, and I've said it time and time again.
Yeah, like every podcast.
Hey, you talk about my inability to shoot all the time, and the fact that I was able to get a 400 yard and 575 first round impacts with an Attero arm and a Chinesium like monstrosity mounted to it, I think says so much about what you have done as far as the engineering aspect of putting this together.
Yeah, I mean, being made out of aluminum, it helps with the vibration, and also that main screw that you sink down. Everybody asks me for a torque spec. I tell them, turn it until you can feel the Allen key start to flex, because you want that bolt to bite into the aluminum. And that's what's going to keep it from walking forward.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So help me understand, you said that with it being made of aluminum, that really helps with the vibration. Can you kind of nerd out on us and explain how does that work?
Yeah, so we're running pistol optics essentially on a full-size rifle, right? So if you had a steel mount, all of that vibration is going to be translated up into your little innards of your optic.
Okay.
Whereas with the aluminum, I think, who was it? Somebody had a slow-mo video where they're firing it, but you can see the little bit of flex where it's dampening that for the optic, so you're not blowing out your fast fire every 10 rounds.
Oh, okay. So essentially, because the aluminum is a softer metal, it kind of basically absorbs or dampens, like you said, the vibration ripple effect through that metal.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
How'd you guys I'm assuming you guys did a lot of testing. How many optics did you guys break until you realized aluminum was the way?
I started with aluminum just because it was easier to machine. The first maybe year or two, all of our mounts were made by hand, by me, just on a normal vertical mill, like cranking handles.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and my tooling costs at that point my tooling budget wasn't very high, so I had to use aluminum and eat through all the cutters.
And now here we are.
It worked out.
Yeah. Have you guys tried any other materials for it? Like, has there been any even want to try out like steel or
titanium
or adamantium?
I haven't tried titanium. The only thing that we've changed over the years is the actual mounting nut. Originally, it was a hardened steel, and I found that using stainless steel, when you tighten it, that stainless steel will actually give a little bit, and it'll contour up. And it's almost like a one-time use nut, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And then, so now you guys are into some other, like, outside of just the pistol red dot mounts, you're kind of opening it up to some of the bigger optics, correct?
Yeah. Our biggest one just launched, the new SLX with the little Picatinny rail that you can run like a 45-degree red dot off of too.
Or 45-degree J-frame off of.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
So I want to ask that question. What is that J-frame? Like, what did you mount to the J-frame to make it connect to the Picatinny rail?
It's just like a little custom-made like C-clamp.
Ah, okay.
There's 2 set screws. There's, I mean, almost like a normal Picatinny mount, but just made for the top piece of the J frame.
And why'd did you just make it just for that joke?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not like a illusion to like, hey, maybe something's coming down the pipe for J frames.
No, I can't. So that was exploratory that way,
Mm-hmm.
but that top piece of the J frame tapers, which is problematic. Like when you clamp, it's going to want to work its way forward.
So I've brought this up several times, so this is not like uncommon knowledge for like our listeners. But so back like February when we first kind of started talking, it was like February of last year. You mentioned you've done it before. You've made a J frame mount. How did you guys do that? Like, what did you guys do for that one?
So on that one, it was actually my old aluminum carry that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
It was just 2 studs were drilled and tapped to that front part where the sight notch is.
Yeah.
And then I think I made it for a 5 or a T1 to where it slotted forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mount itself had almost like a key shape in it, slotted forward, 2 set screws on the side to hold it from working its way back.
And did that work pretty well for you?
It worked okay, but I don't like the idea of permanently modifying things.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't pursue like selling that.
No, that makes 100% sense. You know, it's hard enough when you have like a gun project where you have to do a little bit either hand fitting or maybe you have to drill a little bit in. I mean, having like the other day I had to put a sling stud on a wood stock, and that gave me like almost a fucking heart attack. I couldn't imagine trying to do like, all right, I'm going to drill 2 holes into my barrel shroud of a J frame so I can put a mount on this with a Harbor Freight tool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we try and keep everything to where it's not like nothing's getting permanently modified.
And then so I guess the next question has to be asked is so AKs, you got that whole thing checked out. You guys did grips for a little bit as well. I don't know are you guys still doing the grips?
Still doing them kinda. They didn't. My hope with the grips was that kind of the makers would take over and like do the inserts and like come up with some cool ideas, but it didn't seem like it took off that well.
And then when's the Mosin and the SKS mounts coming out?
Yeah. I don't think ever.
Oh wow!
So the SKS, no, well, also probably the same reason with the Mosin. The cantilevered mount over past the chamber would impede ejection and putting rounds in.
That's fair. Yeah, no, checks out. But still, the hope and dream I think of every young comrade is to have some sort of scoped Mosin Nagant that works.
Yeah, I mean, I made that scope. I made that little mount for the 510 for the Mosin, my hand-fed mag one, and I used the same hardware as the AK, just a different neck.
So it is doable. It's just that you don't want to, because for that sounded. You just don't want to because you don't want to.
It sounded very elitist of you. You're talking about a peasant rifle.
Yes.
And,
you do not want to put an optic on my $150 rifle, Tovash.
Yeah, but like a $400 optic on your $150 rifle.
Yeah, that's what the Lord intended, right? You're supposed to spend 4 times as much as on the optic.
Okay, first off, I spent $499 on my Mosin, so
I don't even have a Mosin, so I can't even talk garbage.
And I have one for you. You can borrow. You can borrow at any time.
Yeah,
borrow
garbage rods.
Yeah, right. Which is interesting because I have
it's our Mosin. You mean
exactly?
It's our Mosin.
It's a communist rifle, so it's ours. So I have a Hungarian M44 and I have a Russian or a Soviet M44. The Hungarian looks like it's had the dog crap beat out of it, but the trigger is like. It's like 3.5 pound trigger. It's really crazy.
The one we were shot, or is that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the Soviet one, I saw an ad for a Soviet. I was like, oh, I have to have a Soviet one. Well, it came in, has a beautiful stock, beautiful blonde stock, looks great. Everything's wonderful about it, except it has like it seems like a 7-pound trigger on it. And I was like, good night. That is just horrendous. And I was like, I wonder if there's a way if I can swap triggers and then get rid of the Hungarian one. But then I came across I think I sent a DM to you about a possible mount for a Mosin, and you're like, oh, I think I may have a prototype I could send you. And I was like, yeah, do that. I want to see if I can hit 450 yards with a red dot on a Mosin.
Oh, I remember that. I'm the worst at following up. I'm sure it's sitting around here somewhere.
No worries. I mean, it was, part of it, it's just a kind of a joke, but at the same time, I'm also like, man, that would actually, it's almost like, what's his name? 110 SAS Actual.
Yeah.
How he takes those, he took that Browning high power, no, it was 1911. Yeah. And then he like modded it out. And
I think that people have done that enough for the Mosin, like that one Garantham video with Micah's Mosin Nagan. Have you seen that one?
I have seen that one.
Oh, it has like a knight's armor and rail on it.
Oh, really?
It's not good. It is not good.
Well, what I want to do is take it and then turn the barrel to put a suppressor on it.
There you go.
There you go. There's the one I envy the most is I think it's called like I can't remember. It's like surplus sniper or like historic snipers, and some like dude, like Ukrainian dude, and him and his wife go out and shoot. And he had one about the Mosin Nagan, and it was a suppressed, had like a what are they? The Hux, like a Hux work on it, and like a 3x6 on it. And it was so fucking sexy. And after that, I'm like, God dang it, I need this in my life.
Yeah, right. So, what is next for, I guess, what's the next mountain that you want to climb as far as Attero Arms goes? I mean, are there other products, other mounting solutions that you're considering? There are different, I don't know, like handguard ideas or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest, the straying from what we're good at, as far as like making optic mounts, into the grips, kind of got me like almost a little scared. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I just like stick to what I'm good at and like keep making different optic mounts. We also have the one for the Ruger Mark IVs, and maybe just kind of expanding the line in that direction instead of in the AK direction.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You know, there's something to be said about, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And, you know, we've seen Glock pretty much do the same thing for 4 decades. And
well,
81.
Matt, yeah. We had this issue earlier today. Well, I'm going to derail this conversation. We were talking about my stepmom-in-law's age, and my wife was like, "Yeah, she was born in 61, and it's 24." We're trying to figure out like movie tickets. Like, so she's 63. She goes, no, that's not right. That can't be right. That math isn't math. So yeah, 81. So yeah, that'd be 40 something years.
Yeah.
Seeing that I was, yeah, exactly. And I was born in 78. So I can kind of math pretty quick right there. Yeah. Since I'm old bastard at this point.
That's why I'm a cop.
Right on. So yeah, there's something to be said about taking what you've already pulled together and just making it better, you know, or not making it better, but just, you know, monitoring what you already have and maybe tweaking it from time to time just to improve here or there, or reinforce this or improve that, et cetera, et cetera.
Or just adding more options is probably what you guys are really focusing on right now.
Yeah. They're always coming out with new optics.
Exactly.
Right. There's always the new fad one.
That, and they're starting to, I think we had a discussion with Jacob in our Glizzy DM party, the Glizzy party. So we have a private
I went to Costco
DM.
the other day.
What's that?
I went to Costco the other day.
Did you really?
Those things are beefy.
Are they?
Yeah, $1.50 for like a really beefy hot dog, man.
Yeah,
like,
you're in.
I was famished after hitting every aisle, because it was my wife's first time ever going to Costco, mine too, and just
first time.
Yeah, first time.
And you walked every aisle.
We walked every aisle, checked out every item to make sure that, you know, to see if this is something we're going to go do all the time. So I had double glizzied it afterwards. It was fantastic. But anyways,
you know, they'll deliver those for free now.
Yeah. We we mainly wanted to go there. RFK has really hit our household pretty hard.
RFK Jr.
RFK Jr. So like my wife is in this. I mean, it's fantastic. I feel
Throwing
great.
out all the seed oil.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing butter and olive oil and avocado oil for a while, but like our kids were like our snacks are being really, really, really conscious about. So you know, if it has if it has any sort of seed oil, and we probably won't buy it. And Costco has a phenomenal selection of like low ingredient count foods for kids, like their snacks.
I didn't know that.
No, it has like tons of options. We bought some cereal for her. It's essentially just it's everything's like toasted in avocado oil, and if it's coloring, it's all natural food coloring. It's not the coal industry's byproduct being sold to the food industry and told it's okay for your body.
Are you sure you didn't stumble into Trader Joe's?
Oh no, this is Costco. This is Costco, man. And like you're buying like a pallet of this thing for like $1.99. It's great. Life is fantastic.
Get out of Costco for under $400.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that was a true statement until we walked out $280 at a solid $280, but we bought diapers, so that was probably our biggest expense.
Surprised the bouncer didn't tell you to go back.
It's like, nah, you didn't spend enough. Go back. I didn't know they have bouncers there too. Like they check, they won't let you in. And if you, as you're leaving, they have to check you out, make sure that you're still who you are, who you say you are.
That's a carryover from Sam's Club.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, for sure. But anyway, back
hot
to
dogs.
Back to the Glizzy party. So we have a Glizzy party chat between Jefe, myself, and formerly known as the AK quality enforcement guy, nice. Jacob. And man, now I completely lost the whole point of us even chatting about that.
Oh, Mosin. We're talking about Mosin optics.
We were talking about Mosins, but
no, new optics.
Oh, new optics. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I've had one heck of a day trying to keep up with everything. But in the new in this group DM, Jacob made a really, really good point that he believes that these manufacturers are coming up with these new footprints for red dots to basically keep people coming back to purchasing red dot, because if you buy a good quality Holosun or Trigicon or whatever, and that red dot lasts for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I know that I've got like it's not like a Trigicon RMR or anything, but I have a SIG Romeo 5 and it's 8 years old and it is still running just as well as it did the first day that I had it. Yeah. Jacob's point was, let's create a new footprint and make that the new hotness so that we can get people to come and buy this and make them believe that this is going to be better, So I guess that's kind of the point where I'm getting at is, hey, this is
told the story of Picatinny chemo and M-Lock, right? Right. And whatever they come up with next.
No, I could definitely see that. I mean, it seems like every 6 months I'm getting an email like, oh, you don't make a mount for this one? And like, I have to buy the optic, and how many are you going to sell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you got to wait till it catches on. Then you're like, all right, fine.
Yeah. And that was something that, I've had discussions with different companies, and I know that companies, certain companies, I won't name names or anything, but there are holster manufacturers that are like, no, we're not going to make a holster for the next greatest pistol that's out there, because we end up making or investing money into creating that mold for that pistol, and then we sell like 10 in a year, and that's just not the cost
ROI.
Just isn't favorable. So we're going to wait to see if this pistol takes off, and if it does, then fine, we'll make one. We'll be behind the curve, but at the same time, we're going to make a better product to make sure that it does work.
I'll say a lot of people got burned on the Hudson H9. I feel like both iterations of the Hudson H9.
Yeah. Oh, there's a third iteration now.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. I didn't really look too much into it. I saw that
they've fixed the problems. That's
Oh, okay.
legitimately what they said was we have fixed the problems. And oh, by the way, if you already have a DD Hudson H9 whatever, you can send yours in and we'll fix yours too.
Oh, okay, 6 hour.
Yeah.
Hey, this might
recall?
It's I know, right? It's a soft recall. Is that the best way to say it?
It's kind of what 6 hour did with I think the 320s and the 365s. Where they said it's not a recall, but if you want to send it in and pay for it, we will fix your gun for you. Like that's the 320s when they first came out. If I remember correctly, I can't remember if it's the trigger spring or like the striker spring was too weak, and that's why it was shooting when it dropped.
Right.
So they said it was a voluntary thing if you want to send
voluntary
it in.
upgrade. Yep.
If you want to get to the drop safe trigger,
Mhm.
but you had to pay for it still. It wasn't like a recall.
Maybe in the very beginning of that they had you pay for it, but I had one of the first 320 compacts, and I didn't have to pay for it. They sent me a return label. It took like 3 months to get the return label, but once it finally got it to me, it was there and back in 7 days. That was the crazy thing about it. And the original triggers.
Glock got me a frame in 2.5 days, but that's fine.
But the interesting thing was the original trigger was kind of a very thick profiled trigger, and then the new ones came back and they were that thin like M17 style.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I didn't keep it after that. I was like, I'm just going to get rid of this, and I think I'm better off for it. So there we go. So I guess Jesse, let's talk about some of your collection. I mean,
I have a hard time selling guns.
Yeah, I saw it, and also that I've seen that you are currently building a gun. I don't know if it's finished or not. I saw this. It was about 2 months ago.
Yeah,
I got gun build ADD for sure.
Okay, so
restless gun syndrome.
Yeah.
So okay, I guess what's the current project that you're working on?
240 is still top of mind.
Okay, so
it is a 240. We had an argument on whether or not it was a 240 or 249.
No, I thought
240.
No, yeah. I think I was team M2, but
I wish.
Modus.
I remember vaguely seeing like the riveted receiver and like a reel or something. I'm like, oh, this guy's building a M2. That's neat. Anyways, I'm going back to being poor. So how did this 240 project come to be?
I just get spammed by Apex, and they know what to tell me to make me buy something.
So so I'm not. I don't want to. I'm feigning ignorance here. Apex sells 240 kits.
They did,
and you got one. So when you got it, what kind of status was it, and what have you done on it so far?
Actually, pretty good. I mean, you got what's the right side comes with it. You got to make the left side. Came with the barrel. Everything looks like it was there. So at this point, I'm still in the process of digitizing my missing side based off my whole pattern from my provided side. And then I just kind of start making fixtures to machine it. It's kind of like a weekend Saturday project thing.
So, yeah, most people, fix their trucks or do like homemade projects, and you're just, I guess, building a 240 in your garage.
Well, I do that too. That's why it's taking so long, because I'm actually doing a bathroom remodel that my wife would like done sooner rather than later.
That's right. You had a Black Friday reel that you put up, and you were running some water lines or something like that.
Yeah, some PEX underneath the house. I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
on the weekend.
Yep, I've been trying to run PEX on a school bus for a camper mod, so
nice.
It's not fun. Not fun. It's
better than copper.
That is true. Like it's not a fun thing to work with, but the alternative is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, this house has had copper and cast iron pipes. So 2 weekends ago, I was underneath the house soldering like my copper to PEX connections, like huddled in a little ball, like thinking to myself, if I catch something on fire, I'm never getting out.
This is it.
This is it.
It's like that dog with the cup of coffee. This is fine.
This is fine.
The whole house is on fire. This is fine.
Yeah.
So you got the 240. What was the next I guess apple of your eye? I mean, you have your most beloved in your collection already, or is there one that you're kind of still needing to add to the collection? What's the favorite?
What's my favorite gun of the collection?
Sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
That'd probably be the 1911 my dad gave me.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So I had my dad built, or not built, but he assembled a 1911 the way and he's a huge 1911 fan, the way that he thought that a 1911 should be put together, as far as the different types of sights and the beaver tail and the accentuated memory bump on the grip safety and the types of trigger that you put into it, and the full length recoil spring guide, those types of things. He pulled all of that together, and that was my coming home gift for Afghanistan. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I have a wooden like case for it, and he made up so awesome. He made up this little what do you call it? I want to say not a bracket, but a engraving plate that he put on the inside of it, and plaque. Thank you. I'm really struggling today, but yeah, it is one of the top three, I would say, the top three firearms that I own. That's nothing's never going to happen to it, and will probably be handed down to my son. So yeah.
I think that's what makes the firearms special, is when they have a memory attached.
Absolutely.
Not the price tag on them. Absolutely.
So just real quick, my top three is, I've got that 1911, which is my absolute favorite, of course. I did a video on man, I always get this mixed up. The Type 56 AK, that's still brand new in the box, that my dad bought just before the assault weapons ban, which is like what kind of indoctrinated me into the AK and all that type of stuff. And then the AK-74 that I built with Jim Fuller. Those are my top three. And those will be the ones that will never get sold. They will be passed down to my kids. And of course, naturally, thankfully, through YouTube, the memories of those things will all be preserved. So I think that's what's probably the most rewarding aspect. What about you, Jefe? What do you got going? I know you have some really cool things, because you actually like brand some of your firearms with your family crest.
Yeah, so our we kind of come from a FUD family. Like, I'm the I guess the black sheep when it comes to guns. So most of all the firearms that I've inherited are all old shotguns and all stuff that we grew up hunting with. So my Remington R11, my great grandpa gave to my dad, and he gave to me. Is going to be like one of those treasured ones. Outside those two, probably my 632 UC is probably one of those guns that that my kids are going to fight over, because dad carried it for fucking ever. And it's probably going to fall apart before it gets handed to anybody else. And then probably my 360J, because I've essentially ruined that gun. Like, it's resale value with a Dremel. So it's going to be one of those. It works like a charm. It's perfectly fit to do what I want it to do. So it's 2 revolvers and an auto shotgun.
Yeah. That's awesome.
As the Lord intended.
Yeah.
Is there any other firearms that are not necessarily a favorite, but like a beloved one or anything like that?
Yeah, my second gun my dad ever gave me was my grandfather's, and it's a Winchester semi-automatic. I believe it's a 1902, but it's chambered in 22 Winchester.
Interesting.
So it's the rounds are kind of hard to find. You got to buy them online nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't really shoot that much.
Right. It kind of, it's not the same, but I have a Remington. What do they call it? Remington 1100 semi-auto 16 gauge shotgun that was my grandmother's, that then got passed to my dad and then obviously down to me. And 16 gauge isn't necessarily difficult to find, but it's not like you can just walk into any store right now and find 16 gauge. It's pretty seasonal, I would say. And I used to shoot that all the time. And I was like, I probably should kind of hold off, but it's based off of the Browning A5 auto. Yeah. The auto.
Oh, R5s. They're called R5s.
R5s?
R5s.
Okay.
Kind of divulging from the gun thing. Sorry, I just remembered I was checking my mental notes. So, your entire family's in the milling and steel industry.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
How did that come to be, and like, how has that helped your passion? That's the word I want to use. Your passion for firearms. How did that help out?
My parents weren't really into guns, so they started Hauser Steel in 1972 in their basement.
Okay.
And then, we've been in our current shop 36 years, I think. So they grew it awesome, and then me and my sister took over. But I think what they gave me was the love of building things, if that makes sense. Because when I was growing up, we never had milling machines. That was more of like my father bought me the vertical mill because he saw I took an interest in high school in it and stuff like that. Growing up, it was all welding machines, shears, punches, stuff like that.
So what did Hauser Steel start off with in the basement? I mean, when I think of milling, I'm used to seeing the huge machine that excuse me, got a burp there. But I'm used to all of the huge machines that you see in a large production factory that are milling out massive pieces of steel. What did they start off with? Milling
they didn't do any milling. They were just welding, like cutting and welding. They started off with handrails.
Okay.
They like residential, small commercial handrail jobs.
That's cool. And then it just kind of flowered from there.
Yeah, just kept going.
That's cool. So you guys have done that. You've expanded. Is there future things that you're going to try to expand as far as the family business goes into, or is there any like new technology that you guys are trying to implement into your businesses?
Yes. So Hauser Steel was all fabrication, and me and my sister 2 years ago bought one of our competitors that did fabrication and install. So then Hauser Steel took over the fabrication side of that company, and that company is now under our umbrella as our install side. So we're putting the steel up that we're cutting and drilling, welding and painting.
All right. That's cool. To be able to expand like that is always great to see, especially for these mom and pop shops that then just kind of grow, bigger and bigger and bigger. Everybody thinks that, like, I don't know, places like Walmart, they think, oh, well, Walmart's always been a thing, but they don't realize that it started as one store inside a small town in Arkansas, and then it's blown up into this massive company that it is now, so I don't know if that's your guys' aspirations, but
I'm not trying to get that. I like to have the family feel. I
think so too.
We've got guys that have worked there almost 40 years.
That's super cool. Yeah. And, I currently work for a large corporation, and, there's a high likelihood that I'll be laid off here in the next probably 6 months. And through the course of that, I've kind of gotten pretty jaded when it comes to large corporations like that. So being able to maybe see about finding a new job, next year into something that's a little bit more like what you guys are, a little bit more family orientated, would be pretty interesting. And the other thing too is the idea of being able to utilize the VA's voc rehab and maybe go back to school and learn a new trait as well to, I don't know, become a welder, become an electrician or something like that. And,
I think the trades, like 10 years ago, the trades were not pushed hard enough on kids coming out of high school. It was, we're seeing a big decrease in talent out there. We've got like, a massive age gap. We're starting to see young guys start trickling in and realizing college isn't the way and to go into the trades, but there's like no 40-year-olds.
Yeah. It's interesting because I had that exact conversation with my son today, just about, I don't know, 3 hours ago. I was sitting down chatting with him because he's kind of he's in this weird limbo state right now where he's like, he's 26 and he's like, Dad, I just don't know what I want to do. I don't know which direction to go. And I was like, I hear what you're saying because this is my situation, what I just described. And I have this opportunity to possibly look into voc rehab and, learn a trade. But here's the thing, sometimes you just have to get a job to pay the bills, and you have a hobby on the side that allows you to explore your creativity side, and possibly maybe that turns into a career itself. Maybe it doesn't. It's just a hobby. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to pay the bills.
100%.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's
a great transition to Sonoran Desert Institute.
Exactly. You could learn how to be a gunsmith yourself.
But I mean, I think that's been one of the biggest. My wife and I both went to college, and looking back, we both look at it like that was such a waste of money for stuff that we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
That we originally had great great plans and intentions to use the college degrees, but now it's just like, if you're not going into to go to college for for law, for doctors, for doctorates, or medical school is probably a better way to put that, nursing school, for education. If you're just going to get a piece of paper saying that you've done the work, it seems kind of like a waste now. And it seems like a lot of time and a lot of money that you just pour down the tube, where even just doing some sort of welding, CNCing, some easier trade school where you actually come out and have a life skill, seems to be a more better use of time, or just get into the workforce.
You can do those in like a year,
Yeah. Did you do anything? Did you use the military benefits you had to kind of get any additional education coming out to help out with Attero?
Yeah. So once I started Attero, I realized that I needed to kind of figure out what I was talking about. So I used the GI Bill to go to school and got my mechanical engineering degree
at Sonoran Desert Institute, where you can learn about guns and gun-like things. I actually have a friend of mine that went to Sonoran Desert Institute, and I don't know why he did it.
How's that working out for him?
Not great. He's still a cop. I think that to get not to disparage it. We actually met I think the dean. Was it the dean of SDI?
I don't know.
It was at at SHOT Show like 2 years ago at Brandon Herrera's thing. I kept on asking them if they had lab coats. Is where Chuck Liddell was there and acting out.
No, that was the Leviathan group.
Leviathan, but SDI was there.
Yeah, were they?
Yeah, SDI.
That makes sense. I do remember now you talking about the lab coats. I do remember that.
Talked to the gentleman for like an hour about the lab coats.
He's like, "No, we're not going to offer lab coats."
And if you did, can my buddy get one? Because he loves Grantham and he's going to class right now.
That's hilarious.
So, but yeah, I feel like the issue with the SDI kind of crowd is there's not a whole lot of That's the best way I could say it. Not a whole lot of demand for custom gunsmithing outside of like just probably getting optic cuts on pistols.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and or building, you know, a $7,000 custom rifle.
Yeah.
Like from scratch, or like very custom end, like a very custom end gun, or very basic, I'm going to mill your slide and stipple your frame, and there's no really in between
Mhm.
just yet. So I feel a little bad for him because he wanted to do something in the gun industry, but there's not a whole lot right now.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest issues too is while SDI might be a good avenue for people to understand how to be a gunsmith with an F, there's not necessarily the training to, and I don't know this for sure, so I may be speaking out of my ass, which is normal most of the time, but it doesn't seem like there's any type of training on how to market it yourself.
Yeah.
As a gunsmith. Like, okay, I've got all this training now. What do I do with it? How do I get the people in my community to know, hey, if you need your barrel threaded, or hey, maybe you inherited this bolt action rifle that you have no idea how to use and you don't even know if it works, you know, hand it over to somebody who does possibly know how to do that. Or
well, I think like if you take something like what Jessie did here, I went to mechanical engineering school, but you had all access to the tools and jobs to use that education. Not many people they will go to SDI, come home, and have access to a lathe and to a CNC machine and to all the tools to really do some custom gunsmithing stuff. They have to go out and get a job doing it. And unfortunately, I don't think there's like a whole lot of demand for that.
Even with the access I have to the tooling, that's kind of where Attero started in, you know, the 2012, 2014 range. I was doing custom AKs and doing Sega 12 conversions, stuff like that. And I, you know, realized I was like, this is not paying the bills. This is not worth it.
Yeah.
There's not enough demand.
So you make your own demand, then you have to supply it.
Yeah.
So actually,
Segas went away. Nobody likes those anymore.
They're kind of coming back, aren't they?
They are coming back, actually. Yeah, there's a bit of a cult following, and so much so that I drove 4.5 hours to go to the Tulsa Gun Show to find a converted or even a non-converted Saiga 5.56 AK and see if I can find one at an okay price so that I can add it to the collection or even send it off to somebody that could convert it, you know? So there's a bit of a cult following for those now.
Well, for at least the 12s too. It seems like a lot of the guys that do some sort of like 3-gun, but like the AK platform, really enjoy those, especially because they're magazine fed and
you can get the extended magazines or the drum magazines.
I think I want to update my cool gun submission. So when I was doing the Segas, I also have my SOT. I have a full auto one.
Oh, nice.
Oh, God.
Still in the safe. And that thing, I haven't shot it in a long time because it hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine. No, that's...
I think it's pretty fun.
Just put some like mini shells in there. Should be fun,
No,
right?
You have to run high brass in it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That will... Okay. Speaking of that, I actually want to get like I wanted to bring this up today, kind of. Speaking of cycling, did you guys watch this assassination video at all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The dude was totally using a suppressed Taurus.
I saw the news. It was a BT.
I saw that too, and there's no like,
which is a bolt action pistol, right?
Yeah, like the veterinarian pistol where you have to like.
Yeah, there's no way. He was pulling back on it. There was no rotation.
And the other thing I heard too is everyone's like, "Oh, they're using subsonic ammo." I was like, "It's my hot take here." The guy didn't have a Nielsen device on his gun. It was just a direct threaded homemade suppressor, and so that it just jammed every time. But he knew it was going to jam because he probably went out and practiced this, and so he just kind of ran it like a bolt action.
Well, hey kids, if this isn't legal advice or this isn't going to be any advice at all, but if you find yourself into a situation where, you know, possibly a CIA handler might need you to do a job, you might want to test things out before you go out and do things.
Oh no, that guy ran it flawlessly. He knew it. Like that wasn't like the oh crap, this isn't working. He's like bang, rack, bang, rack.
I don't know, that second or third round, it seemed like he struggled on racking that slide as if like
it's New York. It was New York and like at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's probably fucking freezing out there.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. That like the gun lube was thick and jamming it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would. So today is the 4th?
Yeah,
the 5th of December. 5th of December. So we don't know the hot like answer to this. So this is coming out the 15th, right?
Yeah, this will be on the 15th.
So 10 days from now, this could all been solved and find out that it was actually Hillary Clinton herself that pulled the trigger. But as of right now, we are in the dark. But it's just it is a crazy time. Like it seems like such a small thing. Like some CEO for a healthcare or for health insurance just got gunned down in the street. But
if you go down that rabbit hole, don't go down that rabbit hole.
It's just more of like there's the amount of people that are on it, or it's kind of like I don't know if anybody else kind of remembers this when the Boston Marathon bombing happened. Mm-hmm. The amount of internet chatter that happened that led people to like the most ridiculous things. Like I remember I was pretty active on Reddit when that happened, and there were people that were saying, hey, it was this dude, and people would go find that person and show videos of them like at their house yelling and screaming at them, throwing them out of the house. And apparently was not the I can't remember the Zakari brothers.
I don't remember their name, but yeah,
but it wasn't the two brothers. It was like some random person that just happened to have some fat Redditors show up at their house and start yelling at them. So I just can't wait because that's already happening. There was a guy on Twitter or X or whatever it is already has said, hey, I for fun rip all the electronic, like the citywide electronic bikes already. This is the only bike that could have been in the area at the time, and this is where it ended. And so he started posting all that stuff, and all the people. First of all, I think he posted on Blue Sky too, and the amount of death threats he got for asking for that or posting that information. It's going to be like a crazy capsule of information.
I think it's going the other way from the Boston bombing. Because I see people online being like, "Oh, nope, not that guy. We were out on a walk." Like I'll be his alibi.
Yeah. Well, I do know that. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch the video, but I did see that Tim Pool had a video that popped out today, talking about it, and I guess there was some type of like cryptic message written on one of the shells.
So the news reports saying the casings had deposed. It had like three.
Denied something. Yeah.
It had like someone wrote on the bullet. So when the casings fell, there was like a message in the casings. Now, if that's true or not, or sorry, Nan's sending sweet text messages to Mark while off scene. So I have no idea what they're talking about over there. But they had some like writing on the shells. So it's just going to be a very interesting next couple days to watch how this all plays out. And then on top of that, if they even find this dude, he's probably already in some like South American country with his $250,000.
No, actually, there was a mugging that has gone wrong, and he actually had some inside information about Hillary Clinton. So that was a joke, Jefe. I don't know. No,
yeah, it wasn't a very good one.
Oh, where you going with it?
No, it was that inside information for the inside information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton died with Harambe, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That joke died with Harambe.
Thank you. That's actually funny because I posted something on a video on YouTube, or I made a comment on YouTube, and someone's like, "Hey, 2014 wants their joke back," and I was like, "Oh,
my favorite one every time someone does them, like, 2001 called. Oh shit! They hit the second tower." And that usually goes over pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, did you see that? This is going off on a way
So
weird
Jesse, anytime
tangent.
you want to go back to guns,
I know, right? But did you see that there is a 9/11 emoji?
Oh
setup?
yeah, I saw that. I tried it on my phone. It doesn't work. So
Yes, it does.
yeah, I have iOS 18.
Yeah, it totally
Show me
works.
later. Well, we're busy right now.
We're
I don't want to
busy
see
right
a
now.
9/11 text message. So,
all right. Anyway, so
Jesse, what's your thoughts on that?
have you heard about Building 7?
I have. It's been coming up a lot lately.
Well, it's actually that truck I just bought. It was built in 2001.
Was it one?
Yeah.
I thought it was a 2006.
No, it's a 2001.
Oh,
So now it's like I have a truck that's older than, I don't know what the joke is there, but it's
it's older.
It's been
than,
around
it's
pre G Watt.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was going to say it's older than G Watt. But yeah, so that would have actually been built in 2000
sure
because
there it is.
2000. You see,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those we don't have video yet. Dan
Yeah.
just showed me the 9/11 emoji you can build on iOS 18. That will. I can't have a fucking gun on Apple text messages, but
I can blow up 2 buildings with a plane.
yes. Do you know what we're talking about at all, Jesse? Or are you just kind of
No idea.
Oh.
No idea. Okay, so on the new iOS upgrade is you can, in the previous versions, you could take text messages and you could kind of animate them like they would slam, quote unquote, slam onto the screen, or they would have some type of animation to it. Well, now you can do that with emojis. So some mad lad figured out that you could make the plane icon that's taken off, you can make it look like it's moving back and forth. And then the buildings, you could put 2 buildings next to each other and you can, quote unquote, explode them and they just like fall apart. So you have this plane that's moving back and forth and these buildings falling apart. So
That'll
anyway.
probably be erased with the next update.
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
So we're just gonna enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
Record the screen.
So outside of Attero Arms, outside of the work you guys do in your family shop, is there other hobbies that you're involved in, or things that kind of take up your free time?
Currently in the middle of restoring a jetmate.
What?
You know what a jetmate is?
No.
Sure don't.
Tell me about that.
It's a Kawasaki. It's got a jet ski motor, a 650, but it's almost like you're sitting in the front like a fighter pilot stick, and there's a dual seat behind you.
Interesting.
Whoa. Okay.
They made like 1,200 of them. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I was thinking of like the Wave Racer, where like the front kind of like you can.
No, not the stand. It's a little mini boat. It's probably 4 feet wide by maybe 6 feet long.
And what's this thing called again? Sorry, we're all pulling our phones out.
Yeah.
Jetmate.
What the hell is this?
Right?
Okay, so how did this become the thing?
Exactly. I got to know.
My brother-in-law's dad, I used to have this like go-kart that I built in high school. It had a 20R engine in it, and my brother's dad wanted it, and he showed up at the shop with this jetmate, and he's like, "I'll trade you," and I was like, "Yep."
Yep.
Done. Leave that here, take that home.
Are you going to spray paint it like fighter gray and just?
I don't know.
What?
You should.
Right now, I've got it stripped down. I pressure washed it last week. I'm ready to figure out what I want to do with paint. I got to order a new engine because it was seized.
Okay, this is just my suggestion. Take it as you will. Stealth fighter gray.
Okay.
Mock it up like an F-16, and only play Top Gun soundtrack while you're cruising through the bayous or where
The bayous.
bayous and lakes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wear like a flight suit, dog tags out. It's not aviators.
No, he's got to be shirtless with aviators, dog tags, just like he got done playing volleyball, sand volleyball. And it can't be a F-16. It's got to be at least an F-14 or an F-18 if you like Top Gun Maverick. And then if you're doing the F-14, you have to have like fins on the back with the skull and crossbones, like from the first movie. All right.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt you. Man. So, like, what horsepower engine is this thing? Sorry, I'm
That'd get real awkward with the kids in the back.
Yeah.
It's a Kawasaki 650. I'm not exactly sure the horsepower, but like a little 2-cycle.
Yeah, 650 though. That's 650
Yeah,
cc. That's pretty good.
People put like 750s in them, but I'm just going to stick with a 650.
You should put 1,000, like a.
I think it's seen like an 1100.
1100. Oh wow,
that's too
crazy. Yeah, I mean, my first crotch rocket was a 600. It was a ZR 600. Z600R is what it was. Yeah.
So what are you supposed to do with this thing? I'm enamored. I want one now. Like I hate that I want one of these things now.
It's just I said yes because it's perfect for like me to sit in the front, and then I can fit like 2 or 3 kids in the back and just putz around the lake.
Did you ever get it running?
No, so the engine it came with was seized.
Oh man!
But the engines are like $800 with the core.
Right.
Oh,
right.
And you just have to know how to put an engine in a boat.
Oh, that's the only thing in the boat. It's just the engine.
Yeah.
It's like 4 bolts. It comes out
and 3 seats.
It's 4 bolts, 1 engine, and a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Anytime that you're in it with your wife, you just have to turn back to her and look at her and say, "Talk to me, Goose." Yeah. And you have to make sure that you say it so many times that she's like, "Just shut up."
Man, I hate I think that's part of the biggest downfall of these shows is I find like things that I want to get into now and I do not have the capital to do.
Yep.
Like, why don't I have a Kawasaki jet, mate? I need like 3 of these.
It's great. Like they only made 1,200, and it's crazy how like affordable they are. I just don't think anybody cares about them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that most people look at it and they're just like, whatever, Yeah. But for probably some of the smaller lakes that are in most states, that'll be a lot of fun,
Admiral Results has a podcast.
Does he?
I guess so. Sorry,
well,
I was checking something real fast. And
Jefe's ADHD is out of control tonight.
Out of control, yeah. It's definitely one of those like by the hour 15. It's like, we're talking about flat Earths, and then all of a sudden I'm on my own little tirades over here.
Well, speaking of podcasts, and this is going to be on a whole tirade, is I'm like doing the deep dive on the whole Tim Kennedy stolen valor shenanigans that's going on right now.
So this is the greatest thing ever. So Mark has this like personal vendetta against Tim Kennedy for like no reason. One day Tim Kennedy actually messages in the back. It's like, hey man, you have like, this is kind of unhealthy behavior. You should stop.
Yeah.
He's kind of right, Mark.
Like, who is Tim Kennedy?
Exactly. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. He's nobody that you should concerned an ounce of your processing power.
It's one of those guys that came back from Afghanistan, from GWAT, and used the notoriety of, was he a SEAL or SF?
SF. He's not good enough to be a SEAL.
He's one of those. I was in special operations, and so I have an opinion, and it's correct because I was in special operations.
Oh, and by the way, I fought in the UFC.
Oh yeah, I guess he did UFC fight. So
yeah,
I mean, it's.
I one thing that I will say is he has a very illustrious career, not only in the military, but also in the UFC and everything. But he has, and the reason why I am, so, I don't know, hyper focused on him is the fact that he has some of the worst takes when it comes to the 2A community, yet he's the face of 511. He's the face of USCCA.
That's James Reeves. James Reeves is the face of 511. Let's be real here.
Well, before James Reeves was James Reeves, the face of 511 was Tim Kennedy.
It's a really weird thing about 511. They're starting to reach out to a lot of people to do stuff after no one wants to buy their things anymore. That suited shootist guy that we were trying to do something with at SHOT Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They reached out to him and he started doing like stuff with them.
Really?
A guy who's, huh?
I was just saying that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a super, super interesting how the guy that his entire shtick is how to dress like nice and carry guns is
Mhm.
now like, and here's 511.
Yeah. So, needless to say, Jesse, is that I have attacked Tim Kennedy on his positions of the Second Amendment because his idea and what he said on
He's messaged on Instagram or Twitter or wherever he did
Instagram.
replied to his stuff saying, I don't agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. And his point, the point that I've been making is the fact that he went on to Lance Armstrong's podcast and he said that he doesn't believe that 18 to 20-year-olds should have the ability to own AR-15s. And I'm like, well, the Constitution doesn't delineate that. The federal government has implemented laws that are unconstitutional. And you're perfectly fine with 17-year-olds going overseas utilizing fully automatic weapons to die for the country. But an 18-year-old here at home can't have an AR-15. And that's where I have a problem with it, you know? Then not only that, but Curtis from the VSO Gun Channel, he has come out and spoke about Tim Kennedy and his promotion of a new company that's fairly new. It's just came out this year, where they basically give you, quote unquote, a credit score on your like social media presence and whether or not you are a good candidate to pass an FBI background check for a NICS check. So like, yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. Like the FBI has their NICS check system that says, yes, you can purchase this firearm, or no, you can't. But now this new company that Tim Kennedy is the face for, and I don't remember what it's called, but go into VSO Gun Channel and he just search in the last few months. He's got a video about it. But basically, it is a kind of a social media credit score on, you know, basically red flagging an individual if they have problematic posts to kind of deter FFLs or gun shops for selling firearms to certain individuals.
Oh man, if you paired that with red flag laws, that's a disaster.
Oh yeah,
waiting to happen.
oh yeah, 100%. So these are the reasons why I have such a dare I say hard on for Tim Kennedy is all of this shenanigans that he gets into. I could care less about his book, even though it's named Scars and Stripes, which is actually the name of a book of a guy who served in Vietnam and was a POW. He couldn't even come up with a clever name for his book that wasn't plagiarized from somebody else. You know, and whether or not the things in his book about the things that he did in Iraq and Afghanistan are true or false, I could care less. It doesn't matter one bit. But when you couple his positions on the Second Amendment to the things that he has said in his books and the quote unquote possible lies that he's had, it really deteriorates his ability to stand up and be the face for all of these different companies. Like, you know, I canceled my USCCA membership because they touted him out as the face of their brand. I was like, I don't care if I end up getting locked up because I can't get a defense attorney when I could have gotten one from USCCA. I'm not going to be a part of that. You know, some of us have actual like quote unquote moral fiber and stand behind certain things, you know, and this is the hill that I'm going to die on. So there you have it. There's my rundown on everything. You know, so with that being said, we'll see what happens and see how this transpires. But Jefe's over here, he could care less.
Yeah, I tried
someone has a different opinion than me. Okay. Yeah. They don't have any like it. That's I could, you know, if it was like Tim Kennedy was the director of ATF and having those opinions and has like a direct effect on my life, yeah, I would have strong feelings about it. But it's a guy on the internet.
I'm with Jefe.
Yeah, cool. That's the gentleman on the internet. He has opinions that don't line up with mine. Just probably like not everyone agrees that Ham's beer is the superior over the counter beer. Like,
yeah, I heard Jesse say, he just said what?
Yeah,
he's like Ham's beer.
Ham's beer.
What are you?
I haven't
what are
seen
you
somebody
from?
drink a Hams in 15, 20 years.
I know.
Really?
Well,
oh
you
no,
see,
it's
you
That's like an
missed
old person's beer.
exactly. You missed the whole thing where Jeff said, Jefe said that he was a bit of a fud. His family's a bit of a fud.
oh yeah. I've been drinking Ham since I was 14, and now
you mean 18, 21?
No, we're past statute of limitations. We're okay. We're fine now. Yeah, it's the we're from the Great North up in the Dakotas, and yeah, Hams or Grain Belt was
There's
kind
a
of
great movie made about the only town in North Dakota.
Fargo. There's a lot of towns in North Dakota.
No, there's not. There's only one.
Stop. You don't have to drive home. We'll
get you an Uber.
Yeah. Sorry, Nan's just handing me beers. Like, oh, you finished a beer. Let's just get you another one.
Is it Hams?
No, it's not Hams. It's a Yingling Flight.
Yeah, we don't carry. We don't carry Hams.
This is what kills me too. It's $18 for a 30 rack of Hams. That is like, think of the savings.
Well, what is it? What is it for blue Pabst Blue Ribbon PBR? What is that?
I don't know. I buy ham, so I don't know.
Oh,
That could be about the same.
you don't always buy hams.
I don't always buy hams. Yes, that is correct. I don't always buy hams.
However,
when there is hams available, I usually do.
Where do you get it?
Like every liquor store. That's not good.
I'm sure that someone bounced.
Sorry, something just crashed upstairs.
It's part of the kids.
Jesse, just to paint a picture, we're all downstairs at the casting couch in a basement at Mark's girlfriend's house, and and then there's just a crash upstairs. So if we just
probably the cat.
No, it's
cat's
down here. It's probably one of the kids.
Yeah, there's children upstairs too. But
So where do you find hams?
Most of our liquor stores here in town sell it.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Like the fridge?
Fridge sells it.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess they have
like all really good. I think the only places I haven't seen is like gas stations with a beer fridge.
That's fair. That's fair.
Every liquor store will have, I think, 12 packs and 30 racks.
Well, you know what? With that being said, I'll get you a 12-pack.
Okay, cool.
We'll have it on the ready
for our next.
It'll be yours. So, however fast you go through that, I don't know.
Well, apparently 2 shows with the way Nancy's feeding me beers.
So, do you drink, Jesse? Is there something that you partake in?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of beer per se, but more like whiskey Coke, whiskey Mountain Dew.
Oh, okay. What's your go-to whiskey?
Just Seagram's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that's a staple.
This is just me. I always forget Seagram's is a whiskey. I know it's Canadian and it's a blended, but every time you hear Seagram's, it just sounds like rum or gin. I don't know why. I think because it has C in the word, like the word C.
I've always thought of rum. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, 7 and 7, like that's
exactly.
So it makes sense. It's just one of those. It got you thinking, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Because
marketing.
We were just talking about this last Tuesday at Singo. We have
Singo.
Yeah, over at Finn's.
He told me that. I'm going to tell you the story, Nan. No one's going to know what's going on right now. He told me that, and I was like, "Hey, you're kind of late to Cinco de Mayo. It's like November, dude."
It's so funny you did bring that up, but that someone brought up Seagram's, and I was like, "Oh yeah. Well, when I was younger, I always drank 7 and 7." They're like, "Yeah, that's 7-Up and Seagram's," and I was like,
Seagram 7.
Oh God, I'm an idiot. So, but Nan's going to.
This is also the man who just recently, in the last 2 years, figured out that a pounder was called a pounder because it's 16 ounces.
No.
He had no idea.
No idea. No, I just thought it was like, hey, this is a little bit more than a 12 ounce, and you can just like crush it. You can just like chug it. I mean, everybody can chug like 16 ounces. You could pound it. Yeah, totally. And then I looked at it and I was like, it's 16 ounces.
I've never heard of a pounder before.
Oh, he said that he had never heard of pounder.
Must
Oh,
be a
do
Kansas
you know
thing.
where we were when Mark discovered the pounder?
Oh yeah.
I really don't want to
On the
know. That
casting
sounds.
couch?
I'm gonna say
No.
we're
I
on
was
the
at a
casting
bar. I was at a bar in Aggieville. Name the bar in Aggieville.
Name the bar. It's probably with the home of the pounder, so it's either probably. What year is this?
2 years ago.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Home of the Pounders, either the Lou or
There it is, the Lou.
Yeah.
And that was the second time that I've ever been in the Lou out of 22 years that I've been in and around Manhattan. That was only the second time that I've ever been into the Lou.
I've been there probably 15, 16 times, and only once have I never been like a part of a fight, seen a fight, or been to the hospital.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That checks out.
Yeah. And yeah.
So yes, pounders, Jesse, are we live by a college, so like pounders are kind of a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like,
so it's college town for sure. So obviously, 16 ounces equal a pound. So there you go. But technically
you're doing fluid ounces and
exactly. And technically it's not going to be it shouldn't be called a pounder because the aluminum can adds to the weight. So then it means that it's over 16 ounces. So it technically isn't 16 ounces. It's more than that. So
I think the Tim Kennedy talk was more fun than listening to that
one. Anyway, yeah, for sure. We're just derailed at this point.
Yeah, we I don't even remember what we talked about last.
We were talking about a
Jetmate,
and it just spiraled from there.
We're from Jetmates. I told you, see, it spirals sometimes. We were talking about
Jetmate to drinking is pretty logical, though.
That's the jumps there. It's like 2 degrees
it
right
is.
there
Because that's what you're doing while you're driving the Jetmate, right?
I think the coolest thing about that the joystick on that thing. I feel like you almost have to chop that off and weld on like some F-22 fighter joystick or some sort of fighter pilot jet stick.
Have a like a heads up display set up.
Oh yeah, you can easily do that.
Yeah. So for those of you who are listening, and we're gonna take this all the way
like you
around.
say listening, like you could watch us.
I know exactly. For those of you who are listening who have no idea what a Jetmate is, take a Sea-Doo boat, right? One of the small Sea-Doo boats, and shrink it even smaller.
I'm going to paint a better picture. Take a Tupperware container and put a jet engine on it, or not jet, put a motorcycle engine on it with a joystick as its controller.
Yep. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, what else? So you've done the Jetmate, or you're working on it,
working
right?
on it,
yeah.
I'll have it done by summer.
Okay, so it'd be ready for all the.
How did you come up with the name Attero? That's that's on my list of questions I had.
So I was gonna do Attero Arms. That's my last name. But then the attorney that was helping me set up the LLC was like, "Oh, you shouldn't use your last name." So I wanted an A name, and I just went through the Latin dictionary, and Attero stands for destroy.
Oh. Interesting. There you go.
Nothing real special.
That's just what you picked, and that's what
stuck.
It is what stuck, and it ends up being pretty awesome. I think. I mean, it's simple.
I like the logo and the 2 T's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and what's really cool is that the shop here in town. We're here in Kansas. You're out there in the Pacific Northwest.
They're a dealer.
Yeah, they're a dealer for you guys, and that's
where you guys are right by the cash.
Yeah, American Cash Exchange.
American Cash Exchange.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like those guys.
Yeah, those guys are great, and that's basically where I ended up learning about you guys first and foremost. And because I'm prepping for the second Clash Bash that I looked at, which was let's see, my first year would have been 20. Oh, what year was it? 21 was my first year. So my second year, I was looking into doing something a little bit different with my rifle, because my first year I did my AK-74 Fuller build, and my second year I wanted to do something a little bit different. And that was also the same year that I was doing tactical games, and was trying to pull it all together, and one of the buddies at American Cash Exchange was like, "Oh, you just need an Attero Arms mount, and that's going to be really super simple. It's super easy to install." I think Clayco 47, he pulled it. He actually helped me set it up on my Sam 5 at the time, and so it ended up working out. It did well. I mean, all the abuse that I put it through at Tactical Games, and then the following October, just a couple of months after that, was Kalash Bash. Yeah, it held up great.
Nice.
So, yeah,
we'll be down there again this year. Or
yeah,
next year, I guess it is.
Yeah,
are you competing at all?
I want to this year. This will be our 4th time down. I'm getting kind of tired of standing behind the booth.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, if you need some help standing behind the booth, I'd be more than happy to, volunteer my time. So
I'll definitely take you up on it.
Okay, cool.
I would offer one. Every time I plan to go to Clash Bash, something catastrophic happens. So I have kind of cut it, and it's not because it's not going to be a fun event. I want to go, but the first year I bought tickets and I was really excited to go do it, and then I had like the bad COVID, and I was bedridden for like 2 weeks. And then I think the second one was like right around when my kid was born.
Yep, it was.
So it's like
womp womp.
Yeah, and catastrophic.
And this one is like going to be just over 3.5 months after your.
Oh, they moved to springtime. I forgot.
Yeah, they did
around spring break.
Yeah, it's going to. I think it's April 4th. April 4th and 5th. Yeah, first weekend of April.
Yeah.
This could be the year. This could be the year.
Could be the year, man.
Could be the year. I'll bring my bus down there.
Well, I mean, you could do that, or I'm going to be dragging the trailer down, so we have.
I like my bus up more.
Okay, well, you know what?
I'm not going to squeeze in a camper with all three of you.
No. I have the.
Yeah, you know what happens when the bottom starts rocking?
We have Outlander pads.
I was like, I went to college, man. Like, and I was top bunk for a while. That was not fun. Like, I don't want to ever live through that ever again.
That's fair. Okay. So, well, that would be awesome. You'd have.
And I'll probably beat you down there with that school bus, driving 65 miles per hour.
I drive 68.
Inside joke. Mark doesn't drive past 70 miles per hour no matter what.
Okay, first off, that is a lie because I drove 72 miles an hour, not only down to Wichita, but back up here.
Because he was going to be late to this thing. That was like speeding for him.
That is 100% true.
And it's not.
The speed limit's like 75 out there?
Oh, yeah. It's like 75 most places. And no cop will pull you over until you're hitting like 90.
Gotcha.
And it's not in fear of law enforcement. It's because he's doesn't like having his gas mileage go below 18 miles per gallon.
That's true. That is 100% true. Yeah. So you're gonna love this one. So Nan has an Outback. So, and she's not a lesbian. So, but she does let me drive her vehicle from time to time.
2025, she can be both.
That is true. That's true. But when I drive her vehicle, I'm like 84. When we're on I-70, it's usually set at 84. So because I know that her vehicle can handle that and still get decent gas mileage, but the Tacoma, not so much. So
yeah, I mean, my Tacoma, rest in peace,
R.I.P.
was only getting like maybe 15 on the highway, no matter what, because it's a manual.
What,
So
yeah, well, and then
no eco
Leadfoot too. So what are you driving, Jesse? Yeah, right.
I got a 91 F350 with a 12 valve in it.
Okay.
That's probably 13 gallons a minute probably 13 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I was, so this is, so since we're having some life changes at our house, I had to do a cheaper truck than the newer Tacoma, and I got stuck on like a 94 and 97 like Ford, like a 250, and I found one that was at this store, the place where I bought my truck. They had one that was fucking immaculate, and it only had like 113,000 miles on it for being like a 97.
Really?
But they still wanted like 20 grand for that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, the thing's like 30 years old, and you wanted 20 grand for this thing. God,
they'll probably get it too.
Yeah, they probably will. Yeah.
The old square bodies are pretty indestructible.
Yeah, that's what I really, really, really wanted an old square body, but I had to go like the one I got was an 01, so it's still a 250, so it's at least somewhat cool.
Is it gas or diesel?
Gas.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 10 banger, so.
Really?
Triton?
The Triton. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Watch your spark plugs.
I'm looking at Nan here.
And
it's
it
a
sucks.
V10.
It sucks because like I bought it and I was like, I'm just going to do a little bit of research on the. And it's like, yeah, the 01s have a terrible thing for spark plugs melting to the. I was like, great, I love this for me.
This is fine.
This is fine. Are you big into cars?
What's that?
Are you big into trucks like that, or like you can just instantly recall that, or just grew up around
no, I used to have a Triton. That's why I like rattled off.
Did you have a lot of issues with it? Can you fix one?
I cannot fix one. We didn't have any spark plug issues, but the truck, it was a service truck for the shop, and it had like a 4-gallon gas tank. You couldn't drive more than 30 miles without having to fill it up. Yeah, that's why we sold it.
Why would you? Why did it only have a 4-gallon gas tank?
No idea. It had like a service box in the back.
Oh, okay.
Just this tiny gas tank, and it was just unusable.
No, that's fair. No, that checks out. I was like, did something happen to the gas tank?
Maybe when they put the box on, they took out the primary and left the secondary tank. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's really odd. So
no, I'm happy with it. It
looks good.
No, it's clean. It's a really clean truck. It has like the interiors. It's a Lariat, so it has the leather seating. Some of the leather's a little worn, but it's a 20-year-old truck. But it's kind of nice going character. Back. Yeah, it's got character, and it's kind of nice going back to I don't know. I'm going to talk to my nerd crowd here for like the pirate. It's the pirate podcast or the pirate software guy I used to work for Blizzard. He has
what?
There's a
those words? Those were words.
There's a gentleman that has a Twitch account, and he pops up on YouTube, my shorts every so often, and he had this whole thing about talking about fish tanks and fish, and he's like, yeah, when I was first starting, it was a fish this big and a tank this big, and then I got a government job hacking nuclear power plants, and my fish tank got really, really big because they paid me a lot of money. He said the problem is a lot of people will grow with their fish tanks, and then one day when the fish tank starts shrinking, they're in a lot of trouble because they're big fish in a small tank. So he's like, hey, if you keep your tank small, or if you be a small fish in a big tank and have fun with it, you're usually a lot better off. Life advice.
Life advice.
Life advice. That's what
means.
Is that going to be your 30 seconds?
Oh no, my 30-second dad advice. Yeah, that's great. It involves the SKS question I had the other day. That actually turned out really funny.
Okay.
So
right on. Well, I mean, if you want to go ahead and start,
we wrapping it up.
Yeah, I know that Jesse, you've got some family things that you probably want to.
Let's start that right now, Jesse. What's your? We're going to kind of wrap things up here since we're past the 90-minute mark, and so 30 seconds. Let's listen. Some sage advice or dad advice.
Whoa.
Yeah, drop that on your lap.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fish and fish tanks.
yeah, there we go. Right. We always drop it on people at the last second, and I do a really bad job at preparing.
We gave you a 90-minute warning, but we forgot about it. We talked about. Yeah, I was saying.
If I had to say it for you, go ahead.
I would say, as long as you're progressing, you're doing good.
There you go.
Good. As long as you're not going backwards, even if it's small incremental steps, it's still progression.
Yeah. No, totally get that. That's perfect. Yeah. What do you got, Jefe?
For those that use SKSs for whatever reason, don't use the trigger guard to mount your sling to.
Interesting.
Yes.
Is that why you called me?
No.
Okay.
That's not where the safety is.
Well, yeah,
there is a individual here that loves exercising his Second Amendment right, which is his right to do so. He just is not. He's one of those people that does it in the dumbest way possible, and so recently he has a Chinese SKS that he put a Tapco stock, took the AR buffer off of, and now it's just it's legal size, just over 26 inches in length and meets all the requirements. I don't know what his plan is for it, but he was using the trigger guard as the place he mounted his sling, and he decided to send a round into himself the other day.
Whoa!
Because the sling got caught on the trigger.
Oh,
like where at?
Lower foot area, or like the lower leg area. So my understanding is he was exiting a vehicle with this monstrosity, and it is
cow.
And it was great because everyone was asking me questions about it, because I guess I'm the only one that knows anything about Soviet firearms. They're like, like we can't tell if it's a hollow point or anything. Like, nah, man, this thing is like wolf best, steel cased. This thing's a full metal jacket either, because they were talking about everyone's saying like, oh yeah, the exit wound, like entry and exit were really like small pinpointed. They never expanded, so it must have been really close shot. I'm like, nah, man, it's wolf ammo. This thing's just a hunk of lead that just goes straight on down. It's not, there's no expansion at any point.
Not at all.
So
not at all.
Yes, don't use your trigger guards, gentlemen, as sling mounts.
That's a good point.
That's a great life advice.
It is. All right, so we're going to head and wrap things up.
I'll say, what's yours?
I was going to say my last 30 is man. I thought about this on my drive home. But I think the biggest thing is for those of us who are getting into our older ages, and still have our parents here with us. Sometimes you're going to have to make hard decisions for your parents because they get to a point, and at the end of the day, just stand behind those decisions. For me in my situation, I'm having to possibly look into assisted living for my father. And sometimes that's going to be a very, very tough decision. And, it's sometimes going to be the best. So regardless of what it is, if you think that you're making the right decision, stick to it and you'll be better off. I think that's my whole little shindig. But at the end of the day, we do appreciate everybody listening this far to the podcast. Jessie, I need to take a second here just to say a huge thank you to you and Attero Arms for supporting this podcast. You have done so much for this podcast that you don't probably really even know. We have been able to purchase some upgraded microphones. We have purchased an upgraded audio interface that's going to allow us to have multiple microphones, more than 2. So here coming up at SHOT Show, awesome. Here in the very near future, we're going to have a SHOT Show special where we have multiple people. I'm going to have all 4 microphones set up. It's just going to be a kind of a round robin where we just invite anybody and everybody over to talk about their experience at SHOT Show. We're going to have Jacob from I guess it's going to be Gun Quality Enforcement as his
whatever you decide to be now.
Yeah, right. We're going to have Kyle from Gear Know-How. We're going to have H-Town Werewolf. He's going to be with us. Our friend Matt. The 1776 USA 3.0. What's that? Greg, yeah, OGs. He may be swinging by. Nan is going to be experiencing her first SHOT Show, so she'll have some input and stuff like that. And being able to have all of these different people being able to jump into 4 different microphones and talk about their experiences is all because of you. And we really, really, really appreciate it.
Are you going to be there?
Can't wait for it. No. I'm a hermit. I don't like traveling.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just stay in my shop.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And to be frankly honest with you, I would be more enthusiastic about going to SHOT Show if it wasn't in Vegas. So
yeah,
I love SHOT Show. I just hate the people.
Yeah, that's fair.
No,
that's
I
fair.
love everything about it. That's my jam.
Yeah,
just walking around and just randomly talking to people for an hour.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm very down that you're not going to be there.
Yep. Well, No, I'm not going to be there this year because
it's family.
Adding a new one to our family, which is much more important.
Absolutely, 100%.
I know 2 years ago I had like a 3-month-old when we did it, and it was a little rough on the family. And now I'll have a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old when SHOT Show rolls around. So we'll just sit this one out, and we'll be there next year.
Next year,
or we'll be at NRAM or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
gun or whatever one we go to next.
Clash Bash.
We'll see. We'll see what
Clash
we pull
Bash.
off.
There we go.
We'll see what pandemic prevents me to going from there.
Yeah, right. So again, Jesse, so thank you so much for not only your support but also Attero Arms.
And we really thanks for all the shout outs.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. And naturally, I'm going to. I am a not only a fan of Attero, but I'm also a consumer. So any chance I get, I'm going to sing your praises. So thank you so much for putting together such an awesome product.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking me into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Really do appreciate
bullying,
it.
I think is what the term is called.
Yeah,
these
bullying.
days.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so very much for hanging with us for this episode and every hour and 45 minutes of this podcast. It's been a lot of fun, and Jesse, it's been a great time chatting with you as well. So can't wait to see you at Clash Bash. And with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here finally and say goodbye to you guys. As always, make sure you guys live, laugh, and LARP.